Hello everyone, Catweazle here. Welcome to the channel and welcome back to our playthrough of Arkham Horror, the living card game, where we are playing Knight of the Zealot, and we are currently on scenario 3, which is the Devourer below. And just before we go into episode 16 and turn 26, we've got to do our usual and visit Catweazle's cock-up corner, because I made a boo-boo last turn. And the boo-boo was to do with the encounter deck. If you recall, we had to flip the agenda last turn, and what I did was flip the agenda. We had to put the discard back into the encounter deck, shuffle it all together, and then we went through it till we got to our first enemy, which was the young deep one. With all the manipulation of the encounter deck, what I forgot was, after I'd done all that, we still had to pick 2 cards off it, one for Roland and one for Wendy. So, no wonder the last turn was a bit easier than I expected, because we are 2 encounter cards short. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull them now. I hope they're not too... well, I hope they're not too bad, obviously. I hope they're not too bad every time, but I hope they're not going to really mess us up. And we're going to have to, really mess about with the board. I might have to do something whereby, I do something compensatory, because obviously we went right past it and we did a whole turn. But we'll see what comes out and we'll see what we have to do to make it straight. So first of all, we've got Roland. So this is his card, and he gets Grasping Hands, Treachery. So Hazard, Revelation, test Agility 3. For each point you fail by, take a damage. Well, at least he's got 9 health, so that's not too bad. Decaying Hands, rise up from below and grasp and claw at your ankles. So I don't think this one is going to unduly affect us. We'll just see what we get. I'm not going to commit any cards, because I'd have to go back and check what cards he had and all that sort of palaver. We'll just take it that he doesn't commit any cards. He's just going to do a straight test. He has got a agility of 2, so it's 2 against 3. We need +1 to avoid this. Any difference, we will have to take it off his health. And we get a skull, which is a 0, I believe, because we didn't have, the start of last turn, I don't think that we had any cultists on the board. So I'll just check that, won't be a moment. I'm back. We did have an enemy on the board. We got the young deep one, didn't we? So it's actually a -1. So we needed +1. We got -1, so that's a difference of 2. So he's going to have to take 2 damage for Grasping Hands. That will put him onto 7. So not ideal, especially as we're looking for him to go and sort of tackle these 2 guys. But there we go. That is Grasping Hands out of the way, and now we have to pull a card for Wendy, and she gets Ancient Evils, Treachery. It's an omen, revelation, place 1 doom on the current agenda. This effect can cause the current agenda to advance. Dark forces stir against you. If you do not act quickly, a sinister plot will be fulfilled. Well, this one, well, it's not alright, but at least it means we don't have to mess around with all of last round. So we should have had an extra doom on the agenda. Fortunately, it doesn't flip it over. So we'll sort that out. Yeah, doom. Move the clock on. So we're at 1 doom out of 5. Right, so we're straight. We're pretty fortunate there. We didn't get any encounter cards that caused us to completely mess around with the turn and redo it. So those I should have pulled for turn 25. We're going to move into turn 26 shortly, and we'll be pulling from that deck again, obviously. Was there any other errors I made? Yes, a couple of minor ones against myself. First one was I really didn't have to put the damage onto Beat Cop. The reason being that the young deep one, it got a bonus for evasion and a bonus for combat. It didn't get a bonus for health. So I put a bonus on all three. Its health remained at 3. So I didn't need to put that onto Beat Cop or exhaust him. I could have kept him as he was. And I'd have got +1 for combat. I'd have got +1 for the machete. And I would have got the 4 from Roland. So that'd have been more than enough. We'd have played Vicious Blow and all the rest of it. And we'd have killed it without having to put a health onto Beat Cop. I'm going to keep that. That was my fault. I just didn't read the card properly. And it's also a bit of payback for not doing the encounter properly either. So we'll leave that as it is. The only other thing that it was thanks to George for pointing these out. And the only other thing he pointed out was he actually thinks that with the Gravedigger and the Mortician that we can use that special text. So we can still like sort of persuade them not to be a cultist. So we could give up 4 cards to get rid of Herman, and if we evade what's-her-face, Ruth, then she would also automatically join us as well. So there's nothing on the card to say when that stops. So it doesn't have to be just the Midnight Masks. It can go through to the Devourer below as well, so we will keep that in mind. Right, I think that is everything. I may have missed a couple of other minor errors that have gone through. I think I've caught them all, but I may have missed one or two others, but I don't think so. Anyway, let's get on with the new episode. So we need to move into turn 26 and the Laugh and Chuckle phase. And here we are at the Laugh and Chuckle phase. Meant to mention it during the brief introduction there. I've moved things around. Sure you've noticed, but I made it a bit clearer. I think this is a little bit better. So we've got the main path. The main path, as usual, is connected to every single card in the woods. That hasn't changed, and both the old house and the ritual site, I've put them down here. They're out of the way, and it's pretty obvious that they're only connected to the main path. The other 3 that have interconnections between them, I've sort of pushed up there a bit. So hopefully that's a bit clearer for everybody. Plus the fact, I think it mentions in the campaign guide that the ritual site is towards the south. So put it at the south of the board. Plus we've got plenty of room if we have to put a host of monster cards along here and we actually get to the ritual site. We shall have to see. Okay, so Mythos phase. First thing is another Doom. So we're now on 2 Doom out of 5. And we don't have to flip the agenda, we haven't got to 5, so we're actually going to pull, at the correct point, some of these. So our lead investigator first. What's Roland going to get? We have got an Acolyte. Damn. Oh no, it spawns at an empty location. I thought it was going to spawn right next to him. In fact, this isn't too bad. So we've got combat of 3, health of 1, 2 agility, humanoid cultist, spawn at an empty location, forced after an Acolyte enters play, place 1 Doom on it. Well, that's not so clever. It was only a small sacrifice. Brr. So where is empty and where do we want to put it? I think what we'll do is we'll put it at the old house. We shall put it at the old house, which is currently empty. There's another Doom. So we're up to 3 Doom. So, or should have put it up. Should have put it up there where it's easier for him to get to. I'm going to put him in the Tangled Thicket. I've changed my mind. Tangled Thicket is also empty. So we'll put him there as well. Yes, yes. We may go that way around. and it allows us just to get a quick doom off the doom track. Okay, right, so we've done that, and it's Wendy, so Wendy gets a card. Oh, another bloody monster, ghoul minion. So 2 combat, 2 health and 2 agility, 2 to evade it. Humanoid monster ghoul. It was a colossal and nameless black, oh we've read that millions of times, Pickman's model enemy, so at least it wasn't a ravaging ghoul or an ice ghoul or anything like that. So this goes directly into her threat area. That's bad, because now we've got to like give it the slip or something. So that is in her threat area, and it engages immediately, and that is that. So the cliffside had a ghoul on it. That is it for the mythos phase. Next up we have the investigation phase. And here we are at the investigation phase. Apologies if my voice goes a bit, I've got that bloody cough back again. It's not as bad as it was, but I may have to stop a couple of times to have a coughing fit, which will be nice. But let's crack on. I think I'm going to play a bit conservatively, because there are a couple of things I want to do in the quiet glade. So I'm going to spend 2 actions in the quiet glade. 1, 2, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get horror back. So we're going to go back up to 5. Not too worried about my health on 7. It's not ideal, but I didn't like my sanity being on 3. So we spent 2 actions doing that. Our last action, we're not going to go to the main path. We are going to go to the Tangled Thicket. So we move to the Tangled Thicket, which means the acolyte will come into our threat area. There he is. Oh, not with a clue though. So there we are, we've got Roland there in the Tangled Thicket, but also what we can do just before we finish our turn is we can exhaust Beat Cop again. So O'Malley, he's going to get stuck in, take another damage, and he's going to put a damage onto the acolyte. The acolyte can only take a single damage. He's dead, and that means we get a doom back. So that worked out pretty well. Giving ourselves a bit of extra time. It's not ideal. I would have preferred to be able to go straight to the main path and, you know, start on these guys, but I didn't have enough cards for Herman, and there was no way he'd be able to evade Ruth, so he'll probably have to fight her. But we'll see how we go on. Hopefully Wendy will have her evasion pumps on and we will be able to get to the ritual site. Talking of Wendy, let's pop across to her player area. And here we are with Wendy, and I've just realised I made a major tactical error with Roland. What I should have done is have Roland come to cliffside and defeat this ghoul minion, because George had a rather fantastic plan for it, and not for the ghoul minion, for Wendy, and it's been thrown into a bit of confusion by having the ghoul minion here. If he'd come down here and killed the ghoul minion, we could have done something extremely funky. We're still going to set it up, but we could have done it in one turn, but we can't now because we've got to deal with this ghoul minion, which is a bit of a bummer, to be quite honest. So all we've got to think about now is, are we going to try and kill it? And I don't think we will. I think we will try and evade it, I think. And Yes, we'll try and evade it. That's just the... I mean, we do have a wild card symbol and a combat symbol on Will to Survive, but we do need our resources. So what first thing we're going to do is we're going to try and evade the ghoul minion. It's got a agility of 2. We have an agility of 4. We've got the agenda in place, gives it agility of 3 to evade, so we need a -1 or better. We're not going to chuck anything. -4. Ugh. Damn. No! I don't want to chuck emergency cash. But I think I'm going to have to, aren't I? Yes. Oh, chuck emergency cash. This is appalling. She's had this all this, like, you know, last few turns. She can't seem to do anything straight away. She's got to throw a card away to do it. So a -1 or better again. A -3. So we failed. Right, so she's going to try and evade again for a second action. -1 or better. That's miles away. Come on. It's only a bloody ghoul minion. Let's try again. +1 at last. So it took a 3. Took a 3 to do it. Oh, and now she's only got 1 action left. Well, with a final action, she is going to have to get a resource. Oh, that was just rubbish. That was rubbish, Wendy. Absolute rubbish. What we would have done, if the ghoul minion wasn't there, was we could have played emergency cash, got ourselves up to 6 resources, then she could have used her amulet, and with her amulet she could have got an event card out of a discard, and she's got cunning distraction in there. Needs 5 to play, but we'd have put it in play with 5. Then we could have gone to the main path, evaded these 2, which would have given us Ruth, because as soon as you do an evade against her, she would have joined us. And then we could have gone straight to the ritual site. But the ghoul obviously put the kibosh on that. And that's why I made an error with Roland. If Roland had come here and killed the ghoul, we could have still done it. And I only realised when we were swapping across. So I made a right balls of that. Plus, I pulled out of the chaos bag like a right numpty. And it took us actually 3 goes to evade it. And it's going to bloody unevade, and we're going to have to do the same thing next time. But next time, we may remember with Roland and get him down there to do it. But not my finest hour. Didn't think that one through. I'm going to blame the flu I have. Right, so that is the end of her investigation phase and the end of the investigation phase proper. So let's get on to the enemy phase. And here we are at the enemy phase. The ghoul minion is exhausted, eventually, and these 2 guys are just hanging around under a tree waiting for somebody to turn up. So they're not going to do anything. So that is the end of the enemy phase. Let's move on to the upkeep phase. And here we are at the upkeep phase. So first things first, actions back. We've got to refresh any exhausted cards. So this guy comes straight back and engages Wendy. Other than that, I think all that part's fine. So let's draw some cards. Firstly for Roland. And Roland gets a magnifying glass. Pretty useless. So... It's an asset, costs 1 to play. It's got an intellect icon, item tool, it's fast, you get +1 intellect while investigating. A lens into a world unseen can reveal things you wish it had not. So there we go. But it is a card. So what he could do, see, yeah, he could actually move into there, and he could discard these four cards here. If he discarded all those, he would get rid of Herman. Herman would join us, and then he could actually try, and that might be a better option. If he does that, discards these, we get Herman on our side, get rid of him, then we get Roland to actually kill Ruth. Then all that Wendy has to do is evade the ghoul minion again, and then get to the ritual site. Sorry, another coughing fit. Yes, so we might try and do that. So we've pulled his card, we've got to pull Wendy's card, and she gets elusive. She gets it now. Ugh. But yes, elusive, cost 2 to play, intellect, agility icon. It's tactic, fast, play only during your turn, disengage from each enemy engaged with you, and move to a revealed location with no enemies. Unfortunately, the ritual site is not revealed, but yes, pretty cool. We'll put that there, and it may come in at some point. And what else have we got to do? Resource each. So that's 5 resources for Wendy, and 5 resources for Roland Banks, and that is the end of the upkeep phase and the end of turn 26. Let's move into turn 27 and to the laugh and chuckle phase. Here we are at the laugh and chuckle phase. So first of all, doom. So we're up to 3. There we go. And we don't have to flip the agenda, that's 5. So we move on to picking laugh and chuckle cards. First card for Roland is a Wizard of the Order. Whoa, 4 combat. At least it's only got 2 health, 2 agility. Humanoid cultist, spawn on any empty location. It's got retaliate, forced. At the end of the mythos phase, place 1 doom on Wizard of the Order. So we could do with killing this as well. Where can we put it? Could put it on the quiet glade, or on the old house. We'll put it on the old house. We may have to take a doom off it, you know, we'll get a doom put on, unfortunately, probably. But if we go with a plan to have Roland kill these guys and get rid of Herman with the cards, he can then move on to the Wizard of the Order. Doesn't get its doom till, when is it? At the end of the mythos phase. So it's going to get a doom on it because we're not at the end of the mythos phase yet, are we? So I don't think we skip to the next mythos phase. I think we've got to do it at the end. We've got to put a doom on it on the end of this phase now. Right, so that's his card. Wendy, she gonna get, oh, she's got dissonant voices now. Put dissonant voices into play in your threat area. You cannot play assets or events. You can't play that. You can't play any of these. And it's in the threat area with the ghoul minion. Ah. Right, but we can still evade as normal, I think. Yeah, evasion's fine. We just can't play, sort of, we can commit these as cards, I think, but we can't play them as events. So, right, okay. That is the end of the laugh and chuckle phase. Let's move on to the investigation phase. And here we are with Roland. So first of all, he's going to use action and he's going to move. He's going to move to the main path, which means both these guys are going to engage. Well, let's put them in his threat area. Then, what he's going to do then is he's actually going to use this action on Herman Collins. So he's going to choose and discard 4 cards from his hand as a parlay and add Herman Collins to the victory display. I'm not sure if we have a victory display, but I'll put him up there just in case. So we're parlaying with Herman. Put him up there. Let's put a victory point thing on there. And we've got to get rid of 4 cards from our hand, so all these are going. Whoop. Knock Ruth over. There we go. Oh, I'll tell you what I forgot to do. I forgot to refresh Beat Cop. He's now refreshed. So now we're dealing with Ruth Turner, and we've only got 1 action left. And we're going to fight. So, oh, Ruth didn't get an attack of opportunity there because parlay is sort of allowed. Yeah, don't get an attack of opportunity when a parlay is being done. So, Ruth, we're going to fight her now. And I think what we're going to do is I want to try and keep Beat Cop for a bit. So, we're not going to be able to kill her straight off anyway, because she has got 4 health. So what we're going to do, we're going to attack her with a machete. She's the only enemy left who's engaged with us, so we will get +1 damage. We'll get the damage from Roland, and yeah, we're just going to do 2 damage, I think. And Beat Cop is, we're not going to, because I'll just finish him off, so we'll just keep him for the time being. I don't mind. We only get 1 damage during the enemy phase off her anyway, so I think he can take that, Roland. Right, but first we've got to hit the woman. So she's got a combat of 2, we've got a combat of 4, plus the machete is 5. Beat Cop's still up, so 6. So -4 or better. Oh, sorry, -3 or better because she gets the agenda bonus. And we get that guy, Skull. I think that's, we're okay. Monster enemies in play, we've got 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so it's a -3, that's still good enough. And we put 2 damage on her. Okay. And that is the end of his investigation phase. So let's get across to Wendy Adams and see what she's going to do. And here we are with Wendy. So the first thing she's going to do is try and evade this ghoul minion. So it's 3. It does have 2 on there, but we've got that agenda. So it's got 3 for the purposes of this evade check. We've got 4. So we need a -1 or better. But can we play this baby? We'd have to go to a revealed location with no enemies though. So that's no good. Because we do need to get to the main path, I think. Is that an event? I've just got to check what this... not leather coat, where is it? There it is. Cunning distraction. That's an event, so we can't even use that. Because of dissonant voices. So it's no need, it's no good even picking that up. Right, let's have a think. Ooh. So evade is -1 or better. We can evade, because we will not be... What's the word? We won't be... like playing an event or an asset. So yeah, I couldn't even play Wendy's amulet because it's an asset. So what we'll do is, it's just a -1, isn't it? -1 or better. So First go. -1. Whew. About time you picked one. So we have evaded it once again. Now what we're going to do for our second action is we are going to move. So we're going to move here to the main path. Now Ruth is engaged with Roland, so that's fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to move again, and we are going to move to the ritual site. Now because we have done that, we will take an attack of opportunity from Ruth Turner, but she only does a single damage. So we're going to take that, and we're going to go down to 6. So she's fled down the main path to try and find the ritual site. She saw that Roland and this Ruth are battling, and Roland's told her to just go on through. And while she's been running through, Ruth Turner has managed to stab her with her ritual knife or whatever, but it's not done too much damage, and Wendy's just legged it past to the ritual site. So we are now at the ritual site. Let's just check our act card. If an investigator enters the ritual site, advance. Well, we have done, but I think we have to reveal it first. So we've arrived here. Large central chamber of a cold dark cavern, adorned with arcane markings and dimly lit by candlelight. Ritual site. It's got a shroud of 3. It's got 2 clues per investigator, so that's 4. It's a cave. Forced. At the end of the round, if there are fewer than 2 clues per investigator on ritual site, add clues to it until it has 2 clues per investigator on it. The sigils on the wall begin to flicker in and out of focus, and the air grows heavy with the smell of death. Right, so put that back. And we'll put the 4 clues on it. So we've entered the ritual site, we've revealed it, put the clues on it. So we've now got to flick this over. Last rites. When you enter the cave, the air grows cold and your nostrils are assaulted by the pungent smell of blood and rot. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until 1 enemy is discarded. 2 enemies instead if there are 3 or more players, so it's just going to be 1 enemy. We've only got 2 investigators. Spawn each discarded enemy at the ritual site. Okay. So that stays out because we don't get rid of that to the end of the mythos, till the end of the round, so that stays there. We just take these from that, and we shuffle in again. A lot of reshuffling this deck in this scenario. Right, a cut. So this is our new deck, and then we discard till we get another monster. It is a monster, isn't it? Well, Grasping Hands isn't a monster, but an enemy, sorry. Mordor's Wrath. A ghoul minion. Woohoo, an easy one. So 2 combat, 2 health, 2 to evade. Top banana. It was colossal and nameless blasphemy, blah 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 blah. So this is what is at the ritual site. These remain discarded. Goes there. And I think that is it for this. Yes, we've done that. So put this at the back and we can go on to Act 3A. So let's have a read of this. Disrupting the ritual. The site of the cult's ritual is inside a large cavern in a dark corner of the woods. In the centre of the chamber is a candlelit circle marked by rocks and arcane runes. So as an action, spend 1 clue. We could test willpower, 3, or agility 3. So definitely Wendy's gig. If you succeed, place 1 clue on this act. Objective, if there are 2 clues per investigator on this act, advance. Woohoo! So we need 4 on the act. And we've got 4 there, and if you recall, it goes back up to 4 at the end of each mythos phase, I think. End of one phase or another, it does go back up to 4. So one thing to remember about this though, that I did see, I have seen on BGG chatted about, you actually spend the clue. So you've got to investigate and get a clue. Once you've got a clue, then you actually spend it, so it goes into the supply. Then you do the test. If you succeed at the test, you take 1 out of the supply and put it on this act. Yeah? So that's the way you do it. You don't sort of like investigate a clue and then do the test. Yeah? You investigate a clue and spend it. If you pass the test, then you get a clue from the supply, which goes on here. So it's important to remember that, otherwise you can make it a hell of a lot harder than it has to be. So, and if you succeed, then you put it on. So it's important to remember that that's how you do it. Alright, so that's disrupting the ritual. Put that here. And that is ready to go. This ghoul minion, we'll have him there right next door. Well, in fact, he's going to go right here, isn't he? He's going to go right into her area. So, we're still in the investigation phase, aren't we? We evaded this guy for 1 action. We moved here for 2 actions. Here for a 3rd action. And we've just gone through all that palaver. So we've still got 1 action left. So we may as well try and evade this guy so we don't get hit. Because we don't want to lose a horror and a damage during the enemy phase. So we've got to try and evade him. So come on. The agenda's still in play, so it's still a 3. So it's 4 against 3. Need a -1 or better. Come on. Oh, that's missed by a mile. So we failed. And we didn't evade him. We've got no more actions left. I don't think we lose a damage now. You only get an attack of opportunity when you do something that isn't evasion or isn't fighting. So, but it will get us in the enemy phase, unfortunately, because we haven't exhausted the bugger. Damn! And it does a horror damage as well as a normal damage, so that's bad. Okay, hopefully, if Roland can get a bit of a move on, perhaps he can get to the ritual site as well and cause some havoc. Okay, that is it for the investigator phase. Let's move on to the enemy phase. Well, there's going to be a few laughs in the enemy phase because both of our investigators are going to get attacked, and Roland is going to lose a single health, so he goes down to 6, and Wendy is going to lose a health and a sanity, so she goes down to 5 health and 6 sanity, which is unfortunate. The Wizard of the Order doesn't do anything. He's not a hunter or anything. He's just got retaliate. So that doesn't really affect us. So that's cool. And that is it, I think. So that is it for the enemy phase. Let's move on to the upkeep phase. And here we are at the upkeep phase. So first things first, do we have to refresh any card? We do. This guy who got evaded, he's back up. Don't think there's anything else. So that is that. Beat Cop, I finally remembered to refresh him, and we didn't like exhaust him during the last round, so we're fine. And oh, obviously, let's put the actions back. Woo! So they're back. Then it's draw a card each. So Roland first. He draws Dynamite Blast. Now he draws Dynamite Blast. Okay, right, but that's good to have. Well, we can chuck it at the Wizard of the Order, can't we? I think we've got 5. Yes, we've got 5. We've got 5 resources. We could have done with it a turn earlier, because then we could have just chucked it at the main path and done a horrendous amount of damage. But never mind. Right. Anyway, so Dynamite Blast. That is excellent. And Wendy gets Rabbit's Foot. So might be useful for the wild card icon there. Cost 1 to put into play. It's an amulet though, so we can't have it in play at the same time as Wendy's amulet. Item Charm, reaction. After you fail a skill test, exhaust Rabbit's Foot, draw 1 card. Apologies again, another coughing fit. But there we go, that's that. And we've got to put a resource. So Wendy's now got 6 and Roland has got 6. And because that is now the end of the turn, Dissonant Voices, we can get rid of that. That's gone. And that is the end of turn 27. Whew. So, how did the episode go? Okay, I made a big tactical boo-boo though with Roland. I think we could have got here a lot earlier if I had actually sent him to kill that ghoul instead of the Ujima Flip, the acolyte up there. I mean, we'll probably get an extra turn without Doom, which is okay. Oh no, we're not. We won't get an extra turn without Doom because there's something else I forgot, isn't there? I had to put this on, didn't I? So we're actually at 4, not 3. So, yeah, after going on about oh, I'll put it on at the end of the Mythos phase, and I didn't. So, end of the Mythos phase, we did put a Doom on that guy. We're on 4, so next turn, we're automatically going to go to 5 and flip that baby over. So, something horrendous is probably going to happen. So, but at least we've got somebody at the ritual site. Okay, they've got a ghoul minion with them. Okay, she's been dead rubbish at evasion all this scenario. Wendy can't seem to pick anything decent out of the chaos bag, but hopefully her luck will change. She has got a few cards now which helps, and we've got this Will to Survive which we may play. I'll have a look at that. That's the one where it's like drawing zeros out of the chaos bag every time. If that helps us get these babies, then hopefully we will crack on and we will get there. I'll just have to check that, but that is just the thing that this card is meant for, and we can play it now because we've got rid of Dissonant Voices. So hopefully we'll get at least a couple of these onto there, and we'll be well on our way to winning this game. So that is it for episode 16 of Arkham Horror, the living card game, and Night of the Zealot. So thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all the subscriptions, for all the views, and for all the likes. Thanks so much for all the tips and the hints, and for pointing out where I go wrong. Again, if I've made a mess up this turn, please let me know. I have spent quite a lot of time coughing and spluttering off camera, so I've probably missed something. When I'm not coughing and spluttering, I miss things. So if you do spot something, please let me know and I will do my best to fix it. And everybody who's gone across to Board Game Links to upvote the site, thank you very much. I think we're on 278 likes, which is just amazing for, you know, just a little site like mine. So thank you very, very much for that. And for those of you that go across to BGG and upvote the geek list and any of the videos that I have over there, thank you so much for that. So, having said that, there's just one more thing to do, which is to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. It's Christmas Eve here in sunny England, and it's not very sunny. So, we'll be going out later tonight with the family, and I hope everybody has a wonderful Christmas time.
Hey everybody, this ain't Cthulhu Lives.
The deep ones wait you know, swimming in the sea. Their numbers they will grow, swimming safe and free. He's not dead but dreams until that fateful day, when they set the old ones free on mankind's final day. Oh, Cthulhu lives, Cthulhu lives, deep down in the sea, in the city of Relay, waiting to be free. Hey! Cthulhu lives, deep down in the sea, in the city of Relay, waiting to be free.
For anybody who does not celebrate Christmas, just have yourselves a wonderful time, no matter what. So, thanks very much for following all year. Hope you all have a lovely Christmas. I will be back probably not tomorrow. I'll probably take Christmas Day off. But I'll probably be back on Boxing Day, and we will carry on with Arkham Horror, the living card game, Night of the Zealot, and episode 17. But until then, this is me, Catweazle, signing off. Toodaloo.